The girl was walking nervously through the woods, armed with an assault rifle as her only defense. She comes across a store, abandoned and looted, and makes her way inside cautiously. She starts to grab supplies, but at that moment, she heard a voice calling for help in the back. She arms herself and goes to see an injured man pointing a gun at her nervously. She gets him to drop his gun, but since his other hand is hidden, she freaks out. He tells her he is injured, but she sees something glistening under his coat and ends up shooting him. To her shock, it turns out to be just his necklace. I think she would make a good police officer. It was not always like this. The girl, Cassie, was just a normal high schooler, with friends, a crush on a footballer Ben, living with her parents and little brother. Everything was going well until the day news of a UFO was reported on the news. Everyone came out to see the massive alien ship hovering over the city. The next strange thing to happen was when the world was hit with an electromagnetic pulse, causing cars to crash, airplanes to fall from the sky, sending humans back to the Stone Age. That was Wave 1. After moving to the woods with her family, they were hit with Wave 2, where the aliens induced earthquakes to trigger massive tsunamis which swept all the way inland. From the coast, the tsunami was massive. The helplessness must have been frightening as people tried to escape their inevitable doom. After the destruction, all islands disappeared from the earth, along with all coastal cities. The next wave of attack was a biological attack, where the aliens modified the bird flu and spread it across the planet, killing millions and forcing the rest to wear masks. Cassie visits the quarantine to try and help her mom, with all that she still doesn't wear a mask. Cassie was immune to the virus, but her mother was not so lucky and passed away. With the wave of attacks, the aliens have been very careful not to damage Earth, and Cassie's father wonder what they really need while they pack to leave the home. He thinks they want Earth, but the little pests called humans are all over it. The family walk until they get to a refugee camp where many survivors have gathered in the forest, with cabins, playgrounds, and few items, trying to make normalcy of the situation. That night, Cassie's dad shows her how to use a gun, telling her to only use it in a life and death situation. Cassie thinks she is safe at the camp, but humans are still humans no matter the situation. One day, a convoy of US military vehicles pulled up in the camp, strange to everyone since they thought all the cars didn't work. The convoy is led by Colonel Vosh, telling everyone that they are here to help. Strangely, they began to separate the kids from the adults, loading the kids onto buses. They learn that the military suspects an attack on their camp is incoming, and since they only have one bus, they will take the children and return for the adults. Something smells fishy, but Cassie's dad trusts his government and sends Cassie and her brother away. At that moment, her brother forgot his bear, so Cassie decides to run back for it, but the bus ends up leaving her behind. Someone should have seen her sprinting behind the bus, but the siblings end up getting separated. In the hall, the adults learn that the aliens have begun the fourth wave. They have descended from their ship, and with their ability to inhabit human hosts, they are currently among the human population, possibly in the camp. The children were separated since it is easier to detect the aliens in them. Everyone begins to panic, with some men drawing guns demanding to be released. A shot is fired, then a gunfight erupts. Cassie is nearby when she runs for cover. After the chaos, the military move out quickly. Cassie returns to see everyone dead, a few soldiers and also her father. She then grabs a rifle and runs off into the woods, breaking down, calling for her dad. The military takes the kids to a secure base, lining them up to be tested, and we see that Cassie's crush Ben has survived. After a test, they inject him with a tracker, telling him that they need child soldiers to fight back against the aliens. The military doctor shows Ben that they can detect the aliens by scanning their brains to see the parasite. They have tried to remove the hosts using surgery and radiation, but nothing works, so they decide to end up killing the hosts altogether. The fourth wave is basically a cleanup by the aliens, as the first three waves have already decimated the population. This move is a very smart one, since people will eventually turn on each other, not knowing who is alien from human. Cassie reaches a highway, where she sees fresh dead bodies and realizes that someone recently passed through. She is then shot in the leg by a sniper and rolls underneath a truck to avoid another round to the head. She is in shock, but pulls her pistol and makes a run for it. She empties the mag wildly until she falls over and passes out. Ben and the other children are trained in military tactics and shooting and turned into soldiers. The colonel tells them that the fifth wave is coming, and if the aliens succeed then humanity will end, but not on his watch. Cassie wakes up in a bed with a drip in her arm. She quickly pretends to sleep as a man enters the room. The next morning her gun is gone. A man named Evan enters the room, telling her that he found her on the road. She learns that she has been asleep for a week and the military base is just 60 miles away. While alone in the room, Cassie finds a secret floor compartment with her gun. She hurriedly packs her things and runs into the forest trying to get away. She trips a trap set up by Evan. He catches up with her and holds her still while an alien drone passes overhead. In the distance, a man with a gun prowls the forest. They return to Evan's home and he tries discouraging her from looking for Sam, saying he might already be dead, but Cassie is determined to find him. Evan then decides to accompany her, saying she might not get far, but Cassie reminds him that she is an independent woman and she don't need no man. He eventually convinces her and the two set out for the base. At the military base, Ben has become the leader of his squad. He is called into a meeting with the colonel and informed that the fifth wave has started in the form of a simultaneous invasion of all remaining major cities. He shows Ben a new technology helmet that will allow them to see the aliens, which will be helpful since his squad will be sent out to battle. The next day, Ben and his squad, all geared up, are sent into combat. Realizing that Sam is Cassie's brother, he ties him up in the base to keep him safe. The mission is to infiltrate the enemy hideout and eliminate all aliens. The team make it into the base where gunfire erupts after they spot the aliens. A few kids start freaking out while the bigger kids return fire. They retreat to a bus to take cover. After causing a massive explosion as a diversion, the squad make it to a building. They think something is wrong, as the powerful aliens that can cause earthquakes would not be afraid of a few kids. There is something the colonel is not telling them. One member removes her implant and immediately she appears as an alien to the others. There is a standoff. They want to shoot her, but Ben also removes his tracker and shows up as an alien. They realize that the trackers and visors are fake and that the men they have been fighting are the human survivors. The colonel and the military are the aliens who have been testing the kids to see if they could be controlled. They have been preparing for the fifth wave, however, they are the fifth wave. Ben remembers that he left Sam and refuses to abandon him. He plans to put in his tracker and take a bullet, so the aliens will not suspect him. Cassie is asleep when Evan is met by the man with the sniper rifle. The man seems to recognize him, saying that he is away from his post, before trying to kill him. Cassie wakes up to see the struggle and tries to escape. To her shock, she sees Evan take out the men with superhuman strength, throwing one man through the air. Cassie puts her gun on him, demanding to know what he is. Evan explains that the aliens have been to Earth before and he is a sleeper agent, a human-alien hybrid. He explains that when the ship arrived, he was activated. He tells her that he fell in love with her while watching her from a distance, and he actually saved her life on the highway the day she got shot, by shooting her attacker, causing him to miss. He also tells her about the army and the children being trained to kill survivors. Cassie does not trust him and leaves him in the forest. Ben makes it back to extraction, telling them that his team was all killed in action. Meanwhile, Cassie is able to get picked up by the military and taken to the base, where more kids are being sorted. She meets the army doctor and gets implanted with the chip. She is shown a boy behind a glass, but Cassie jumps into action and strangles the woman before knocking her out. Ben reports to the colonel that his entire team was wiped out, but the colonel does not believe his story. Ben drops the act and reveals that he knows that they are alien. The colonel coldly tells Ben that they will kill all the humans because they need the Earth to themselves. At that moment, soldiers enter and report the doctor's death before an explosion is heard. Ben is being escorted away but manages to break free. He meets up with Cassie and rush off to get to Sam before the army can send off the kids. They are confronted by guards, but Evan turns up and saves them. He reveals that he was the cause of the explosion and he plans to take the base down, choosing to side with humans. Evan rushes off to plant more bombs and Cassie and Ben run off to see a large group of kids being boarded onto planes. Cassie pushes through the crowd of kids and manages to find Sam. The colonel is planning to evacuate the base when he spots Ben and Cassie and shoots at them. There is a massive explosion and the entire ground begins to split open, so the colonel takes off. Ben's squad turn up in time to save them and they watch the base go up in flames. Later the squad camp out at their hideout. They plan to save the other children from the aliens, but for now deciding to rest before their attack.